Hi, my name is Greg Eisenman. I'm at 2453 Riverside Drive in the city of Santa Ana. I'd like to go a little bit further with what Red was just saying about the safety and security. I had by no means have the type of security background as the deputy chief and the lieutenant that we've had meetings with, and the honorable former police chief of Fullerton. You know, Joe said in his speech earlier that safety is a prime concern for us. I represent the Tropicana and Camelot Hotel and the Medallion family, and it seems to me that our family is also interested in safety and security for our guests, for the employees of the hotel, and moving this new safety and security checkpoint to the area that's going to be located is now putting that into our backyard, and I have a concern with that. Ms. Lieberman, you were asking about the new area up or the crosswalk area and the gate area. It seems to me that they have no idea about closing that gate there. You keep hearing that from them, that they're not going to close that gate, but they're going to be building a security checkpoint at that gate right now for our guests to go through. So what changes now in the next 2 years? They're saying that the security has to go behind, but I don't understand why the security is okay there now, but it's not okay there later. They're not telling us why. And when Dan Hughes talked, he said that he cannot discuss the strategies of security. I can well respect that, but there's been no studies on that, and we're asking you to go back and do studies. They're in their infancy, they said it. They're in their infancy of getting this project off the ground. We were told that if we wanted to do a study on it, we could do a study on the security. We're asking them to go back because they're still in their infancy. It's their project. So we're asking for that. Again, I'd just like to wrap up by saying that I represent a family that's been on Harbor Boulevard since 1959, and we'd like you to really seriously consider this project. We are for it. We want the bridge. We just want access in any manner. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Get it out of your system. All right. Scott Frisbee, please. Name and address, sir. Thank you.
Scott Frisbee. I'm the last of the Frisbees for today. Address is 1068 Ortega Way is our office. That's in Posecha. The restaurant's 1500 South Harbor Boulevard that we're here to talk about. Planning Commission, I want to thank you for the opportunity and staff for allowing us to do something like this. We've been a part of the city for many, many years. We've never had an opportunity for a working session like this, which is just great. But well, my siblings didn't say, we've been a member of this community, the city of Anaheim, since 1967, where our father opened up his first restaurant. And we've been a member of the fabric of this community. We're very proud of that, very supportive. And we want the community to continue to grow and foster. We want to be a part of that. Of our employees, this restaurant in particular and a few other ones, over 70% of our employees live and work in Anaheim, they go to school in Anaheim, they've grown up in Anaheim, work with us, and gone on to great things in their lives. So we're very proud of what we've been able to do for the community. How about this project? Since the late 90s, and has already been talked about, is when that promenade was created, the atmosphere, the street atmosphere, the signage, and all of that was done, it worked. Our business is good. I'd say everybody along our block is very pleased that happened. Very, very pleased. That was a great example of partnership with the city. Upwards of $500 million were spent. The cities worked together with these folks on the signage, and all it worked. We're concerned where we're going with this right now is going to cut it in half. It's going to put this monolithic bridge. It's not going to be the same atmosphere that was envisioned when this was done almost 20 years ago. It's going to change the experience for the guests in that area. Now, speaking of our business in particular, but I'd say in many cases, most of the businesses on this block, we depend on that pedestrian access for our business, the pedestrian flow and pedestrian access to Disney. In our case, I guess probably 6% of our customers come in on foot. You know, at this point where this is headed, we're very concerned, very, very concerned that we're going to lose a good portion of those. When those people go on and they don't have a convenient access, they don't know where you are, they can't get there, can't get out of Disneyland conveniently, to come back in, take their time, take a rest, come back in the park. All those reasons are going to be a lot more difficult for the folks going forward. What will happen if it goes forward as is? It will hurt our business. It will hurt the community. In many cases, I imagine some of these businesses will go out of business. You know, the bottom line that a lot of our businesses have is not fantastic. You know, we want to preserve that, but just as important as that is, you know, these 8,500 people that work in our businesses, a lot of those jobs are at risk if we don't come up with compromises, if we don't come up with solutions. And we think the solutions are on the table. But that's what we were looking at. It's a risk here. We're very, very concerned about that and our employees. We, as well as a lot of the other business here, we want to continue to engage in these conversations. We want to sit down and talk about the solutions. Joe's offered some, not loud about some of them, but we got to talk about it. But we need that. We need the time. I'm very pleased that the commission has put off the meeting, the January meeting, so we can have some time to work on this. But ultimately, I think it's the city's responsibility to ensure that there's a win-win for everybody. And we want to be a part of that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mike Robbins.
Good evening, my name is Mike Robbins. I'm a resident of the Resort District here in Anaheim, and also I've been involved in some of the politics here in Anaheim. And of course we know that Disney doesn't really care about any of the businesses here, they just care about themselves, as they have been manipulating the politics here in Anaheim now for many, many years by purchasing the council members as represented in the last election, where they spent millions of dollars to buy these people. I don't think that we're going to get anything out of them, and I think that they're going to try and push this through anyway. Hopefully you guys won't go for that. I'll read my notes. As we should be clear-cut in our decision-making process, we must know the impact on Anaheim. As Disneyland refuses to pay for infrastructure costs through illicit political manipulation, we need to stop any expansion that adds pressure on our system. So this will add pressure on our system, and I'm going to be expected to pay for it, and Disneyland isn't. When they were asked to pay $1 gate tax, of course they blocked that through political manipulation. And when they were asked to pay other taxes, they were blocked. We were blocked by political manipulation again. And I think that this is a chance for us just to stop Disney, to say that they can't do anything. They can't do anything, and they're willing to, until they're willing to contribute into the system. And I want to tell everybody in the room that we have the same general fund as Santa Ana, and that's because Disneyland doesn't pay anything into it. And we need to change that. And I want to pay less. I want to pay less for I want to pay less on my property tax bill for the construction of schools and for the construction of sewers and electrical plants and everything else that we have to pay for. And Disneyland doesn't have to pay for. But they can build stuff that puts more pressure on the system, and we're expected to pay for it. And we can stop it here, and you guys can be the beginning of that. We can stop it here, and we can stop it at the city council, and then we can bring all the businesses in on it too, so that everybody can share in the prosperity of Anaheim, not just Disney alone. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.